an enzymatic unitition of unction. Yes, it's the Unshow. Yes, it's Wednesday night, undressed from Conroy's Emporium, where you can get anything your heart desires. Have you washed your hands, Conroy? Very tasty. Goodness gracious, no, don't know. Hello, my fellow undressed. Yes, it's me, Jeremy Taylor, and welcome to the talk show that pretends to care, the show where we ask customers to join in with their opinions. I could tell you a funny story, but it's a bit blue, and Conroy would hear you laugh. And he'd know I told him not... No. Is he here? Where is he? He's in the lavatory. Okay, quick, look, So, my friend Ivo, Ivo walks into a bar with his crocodile. Walks into a bar with his Bulgarian crocodile. It's a Bulgarian crocodile, right?
Take my crocodile.
Bulgarian crocodile walks into a bar in Bulgaria, in Sofia. He walks into this bar, right? And the barman says, "Get out. Get out of here." And Ivo says, No, it's okay. It's okay. Crocodile's okay. It's okay. He's a big crocodile, but he's fine. He says, "Get that crocodile out of here." And Ivo says, No. It's all right. He does tricks.
Oh, dear.
Tricks? He says, "Yeah, he does tricks. Watch, look." He says, "I tell you what." He says, no, listen, give it a chance. He says, no. He says, look, and he got the crocodile, right? The crocodile, big crocodile, and the crocodile opens his mouth, right? Okay, opens his mouth, and Ivo whips out his, what do you call it? You know, ladies, you know what I mean.
His wallet.
You know.
Yeah.
He gets out, you see, right? And the crocodile's got his mouth open, and Ivo sticks it in the crocodile's mouth, right? And at that point, he grabs a big stick, baseball bat to you lot, and whacks the crocodile over the top of the head. You know what the crocodile... He goes... Ooh. But he doesn't close his mouth. He doesn't... No, he doesn't, ladies. He doesn't close his mouth. He just sits there with his mouth open. He said, "That's pretty good. Isn't that pretty clever, isn't it?" He said, "I tell you what, 50 euros..." He says, 50 euros to anyone else in the bar who will have a go at that. And this little old lady, she's in the corner. She comes across to Ivo and she says... "I'll have a go at that." She said, "Just don't whack my head as hard as you did the crocodiles." I know, I tell you, yes, no. Look, our undressed panel tonight includes Ivo Ivanov, of course, Donna, Kathleen, Jack Torrance is back, Louis Orlando, and we're ready to go. It's Wednesday night, undressed from Conroy's. Yeah. Well, you know, all sorts of things have happened since we were last here, and I wanted to hit on one thing in particular, and that is a young lady by the name of Keisha. Now, Kesha. Well, there you go. You see, no one's ever heard of her.
No one over the age of 50.
That's right. After a judge...
I've heard of her. I'm over 50.
After a judge refused to grant her a release from her record label, the latest she is in a very long line of applications, punch-ups, if you will, from musicians over the years. Yeah, on Friday, chart-topping pop singer Keisha broke down sobbing in a Manhattan courtroom after a judge refused to release her from a contract with a producer she claims sexually assaulted her. Well, the 28-year-old singer moved from Nashville to L.A. when she was 17 to work with a producer named Dr. Luke, who runs Kemosabe Records.
He's not a real doctor, but he plays one on TV.
That's right. No, he owned by Sony Music.
Yeah.
By the way, Dr. Luke is not an MD. He sold a bit of grass at the time. But what he is well known for is spending 10 years as the lead guitarist on Saturday Night Live before moving into music production. He's worked on Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone, Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl, Miley Cyrus' Party in the US, and Pink's Who Friday. Well, let me tell you this. What's at stake? Creative freedom, buckets of money, all sorts of things. And hundreds of thousands of fans have tweeted saying, free Keisha, or whatever. Kesha.
Say the word Kesha.
Free Kesha. And a host of contemporary singers voiced their support, including Lady Gaga and various people I've never heard of, Ariana Grande, Lord, Whale, and others. Now,
sorry, I got to interrupt for just a second. Have you truly not heard of any of those people? I'm just curious.
Never heard of them.
Okay.
We're getting a lot of young followers right now.
My issue with this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is, and here we get to proper musicians, what about Nirvana's Dave Grohl and Courtney Love? Or Prince against Warner Brothers? Or Slash against Axl Rose, or John Fogerty, or the Smiths, or Liam and Noel. Roger Walter against David Gilmour and Nick Mason.
It's Roger Waters, not Walter.
Oh.
I thought it was Walter.
No, his name is Roger Waters.
Okay, we won't argue the point. Or even,
Wait a minute, we're not going to argue the point. What's the hell the point of us
even the
being here?
Beatles and EMI and Apple. Is this really just a situation where an unheard of artist who sold a few million things on the interweb, right, can't cope anymore, and so she wants out because she signed a 6-album contract?
When did you become 112 years old?
Yeah. Well, bingo.
I mean, you just skipped a whole bunch of decades in there.
Dr. Luke, by the way, it takes guts to name yourself Dr. Luke when your name is Lukasz Darkowitz and you're a skinny Jewish guy, from Brooklyn. It's just ridiculous. And what is going on with the skinny Polish guys, tiny little Polish guys, and rapes? I mean, between this guy and Roman Polanski, this is like the most dangerous demographic in the freaking world. It's
you mean besides the NFL? The entire NFL?
I mean, the lawyer for Kesha accused him also of raping Lady Gaga.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
Dr. Luke raping Lady Gaga, she of course denied it. By the way, I mean, just go with your real name, dude. Dr. Luke raping Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga's name is Stephanie. Enough.
With a PH or an F?
Dr. Luke rape Lady Gaga sounds like a Doctor
Gaga
Who
has
episode.
no F's in it.
Gotta get that Gaga.
Yeah.
I was just crazy about that girl.
Lady Gaga, by the way, denied the accusation and says this is absolutely not true. The guy, by the way, is a very talented musician. You've probably followed him since... Because he was always on Saturday Night Live on the front. And he's produced so many... and he's a good musician, like good guitar player. So he's an actual musician. I don't know what's going on. Labels... Why would you name your label Kimosabi? Is that a good
I think
name?
that's rude.
Is it?
It's rude.
Why?
Kemosabe.
Why would
Why would that be rude?
Well, isn't that having a go at the Native Americans?
Are labels a thing of the past, guys? Because
hadn't thought of that.
what do labels do? The distribution and marketing.
Right.
This is now done. You can do it on
Sorry,
your
for
own.
a second there, I thought you were talking about people being labeled.
reason,
but you're-
being
I think the
labeled.
label
you're talking
is,
record
is
labels.
probably experiencing a resurgence right now because you can start your own label and basically pay yourself to distribute your own material.
Yeah. But, I'm looking at bands like the Chicago band that does all the videos. You know what I'm talking about?
Is there a Chicago band that doesn't do videos?
No, they really...
A band called Death.
Okay, go.
OK Go.
Yeah.
OK Go made millions and millions of dollars by making their own videos, low cost. They made the first video was in the backyard. Mm-hmm. It was choreographed by one of the guy's wife, and they had like 100 million views. It was just the coolest little video. And
The treadmill video.
the treadmill video followed, then the Ruth Goldberg machine. Then now they have this amazing video where they shot in zero gravity in a vomit comet.
Yes.
And so
They shot it here at Conroy's?
good one. But they distributed themselves. They found an
No,
avenue.
it's in the ladies, actually, not the gents. No,
And-
come on, keep going.
And there's a lot of musicians that just do it on their own nowadays. There's a new show on HBO called Vinyl. Actually, they're directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Mick Jagger.
Now, has this started? I've seen the ads for it, but I haven't caught the show.
I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
Those are available right now. Now, this is about the point of view of the label, and it's happening in the 70s.
Right.
And back then, labels were extremely important, and one of the storylines in the beginning was Led Zeppelin moving away from Atlantic and basically starting their own label called Swan Song. And this was kind of considered incredible act of rebellion back then, and something unheard of. Like Beatles did Apple, and Led Zeppelin did Swan Song, but mostly they were, slaves to big labels, those musicians.
Well, in the end, with the Beatles and Apple, you've got to remember that the Beatles didn't record on Apple. Everybody thinks they did.
Yeah.
Other people did.
Yeah.
But the Beatles were tied into EMI and what was Parlophone before that.
Well, it was a big part of the label's work was pushing the songs on radio, and they had connections with the radio stations. Radios become very much irrelevant nowadays. Music radio.
Excuse me?
Yeah, no, I don't think you're correct on that. Actually, the amount
Did you
of
just say
listening
radio
to
was
music in the
irrelevant?
car has increased. Radio
No, I
stations
think
not to the
quite
radio.
well.
Yeah, no, but radio stations overall are down in their listenership because people carry their music with them.
Yeah, you listen to what you want.
Personally, haven't listened to a radio station unless I'm absolutely forced to in probably the last 10 years.
I think you guys need to recheck some things there because listening in the radio stations have been doing well with car listeners, especially talk radio.
Oh, you're in the same boat with Jeremy Taylor because he has not listened to anything since Richard Wagner, and I think you're way behind with your information on the radio stations.
Wagner,
Yeah.
is he still on? Is he on Radio Luxembourg?
Don't ever put me in the same category as that guy.
You're rocking the same boat. Radio's dying, and radio's struggling, for cash, and musicians really don't care whether they're played on radio. They care about streams. They care about iTunes. They care about those numbers and the MP3 distribution, and they don't really care.
You know,
that
I
much.
want you to know
Musicians
that
don't
you
care
are-
about any of that stuff because they're not getting paid for that stuff. They care about the stuff that's going to put money in their pockets and ending up. That's why they're starting their own streaming services and moving to things that are artist friendly rather than producer and label
But
friendly.
they shouldn't have signed up when they needed the money and they needed the tour and they needed the money for the tour and the bus and the truck and the equipment and everything else. They're very happy to sign up. Then when they crack it, right, that's when they start to whinge and complain and whine and bitch about the fact that the record label is taking all this money off them. And even if you're Led Zeppelin, you can't afford, because remember you don't have the money, to take on the record company who's owned by Sony, who's owned by somebody else. Don't sign up for 6 albums if you don't want to do 6 albums.
Well, that's easy to say, but
Yeah,
if you are a
very.
fledgling
Okay,
artist...
don't sign up for 6 albums.
Thank you, Jeremy, for proving my point. No, I mean, realistically, if you're
Back it all up, put it in
if you're a fledgling artist and you're trying to, everything that you just said is true.
Yes.
You don't have the
frequently is.
the wherewithal.
Wow.
You don't have the wherewithal.
Somebody smack him.
I like.
And you're talking
I like
about an
Cash,
industry that, from its very beginnings of its history, has notoriously ripped off artists.
Quite
right.
But that's kind of the point that he's making. That this is traditional for the industry, and is that something that should be fixed? Is that something that
That's what people are trying to do, is move away and do their own stuff. What? Because it's traditional that we rip off our artists? That it's okay? That, it's traditional that a young person has to go to any financial source they can find, and
Look,
therefore it is the record company's right to rip them off once
Absolutely,
they get famous?
it is. It's like dealing with vampires. And Count Dracula,
My
always
God,
says,
take an argument and put it in the toilet.
when you turn up at Dracula's house, he always says, enter willingly, doesn't he? He doesn't say, I'm dragging you in here. He gives you the choice.
I
you
love
know
that
so much
Donna,
about
I love
Dracula.
it. I love it when Donna gets angry. It's awesome.
I'm
but-
not angry. I'm just a little passionate about something.
Well, I'm curious because it sounds like you think that at least me. I don't know about the Brit at the end of the table, but it sounds like you think that I'm saying that the companies have a right, or it's okay that they're ripping off the artists. That's absolutely not the point.
Go ahead. What is the point?
The point is that this argument. Okay, if we assume, just for devil's advocate purposes, that Kesha has made up this whole thing in order to get out of this contract with Sony because she doesn't want them to make the money off the next 2 albums. The question is this tell me if I'm saying this wrong, Jeremy. Your question was, isn't this just the same argument that we've seen since the beginning of like artisan recording?
Well, certainly since the beginning of, Elvis, the Beatles, any number of heavy rock, Uriah Heep, Wishbone Ash,
Deep Purple.
Deep Purple, good example.
Lewis,
Deep
you're correct.
Purple. Who did you say, Jack?
No, you
Well,
are
so
not.
Lewis is correct. I mean, it is the exact same argument over and over again.
Your premise was wrong. Let's assume that she's
No,
making
I
up the whole
agree.
thing.
No, I agree that that's a
the
horrible
key
premise.
To the
No,
whole thing.
I agree
Yeah, that
that
was
is
a
a
bad
horrible,
place to go,
horrible
Lewis.
premise. But I'm
She's
trying,
going to rip your fucking balls off now, I tell you.
and I'm going to sue.
No, you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, you might enjoy it.
I like Kesha. I like her influences and her music. She apparently is fighting for artistic input into what she does because she claims that she has written over 70 songs that were all rejected by Dr. Luke, and she wants to be an artist. She wants to create. Let her try and fail if she will, but let her do it herself. And she doesn't want to be puppeteered. So
Yeah, but if you look at someone like Waterman in the UK, producing all these amazing bands and singers through the 80s and 90s, right, and working with bands like ABBA and you name them, right, he's saying, I'm a producer, if you want my expertise
yeah, you have
and
to
you want to
listen.
make money,
Yeah.
you will do what I say. And it's like Mark Bolan, for instance, saying, I don't want to do that, I don't really like, get on with it, pal.
Well,
Or you've seen how many concerts have we all been to where they say, well, we want to start the new stuff.
yeah.
And you want to hear them play the old stuff, the proper songs, the songs that were famous that you've paid good money to go and see.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson did this with Pet Sounds. And no one wanted to know.
To listen to it, yeah. Well, I can see both sides because the judge in New York, she rejected Kesha's claim because she
What's her name
determined
again?
Kesha. She determined that the producer had invested $60 million already. He produced papers to prove that he has invested $60 million in her career, and he wants to return at least these funds. So it was tough on the judge.
And
to
maybe
make
I
a
misunderstood, but I thought that the request was denied because she had not satisfied the burden of proof that the sexual assault happened.
No, it was nothing to
I
do
don't
with
know
that.
about
He
the
said
sexual assault.
the judge made it. Lady judge, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Made it quite clear that they were she wanted to go for the commercial point of view, and said, clearly this is a commercial thing.
And the sexual assault very hard to prove because they willingly also had a relationship. So
No,
that's
he's
what I've
actually
heard.
said that he has not had a relationship with her, not a physical relationship
Has
at
he
any
had
point.
a physical relationship with Roman Polanski?
I don't know.
It's
We
very
should
possible.
look
Who
into
hasn't?
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Me? Thank you.
So my thoughts are that whomever the controlling entity is, if it's Sony Records, it would be to Sony's benefit to separate these two. And if what I'm hearing is the case, that she is contractually bound to work with him to produce 2 more albums.
And that is quite interesting, my friend. Which
Lou, it's not in the best interest to separate them.
the issue.
It's not at all, because now that it's in the news, it's going to cause more people actually to pay attention.
to buy.
Exactly, and to kind of, and again, hate to say this, but there is no such thing as bad publicity.
Bad publicity.
And-
Yeah.
There
And
really
in
isn't.
fact,
And this
Sony
will cause
ha-
people to actually get more involved, and they'll want to pick up her album and see, okay, who is this person, and why are they claiming this, and what do they look like, and
Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe they're doing it on
There's
purpose.
absolutely no way and this is just me personally, there's absolutely no way I would consider buying or listening to an album that a woman was forced to make with the guy that raped her.
Right, and what you should know is Sony have made it very clear that they're very happy to work with her. She can have any other producer they like working for Sony. Sony is a huge corporation. We want a pork tenderloin, and what else do we want? So Sony have said, we will have... You can have whatever you like, whoever you like. She doesn't want to work with them. She wants to do her own thing. That's the point. She wants to do her own thing. She wasn't prepared to accept another
Sony.
another Sony employee.
Uh-huh.
She wants out. And they're
Was
saying,
that some
nah.
kind of subliminal message about the pork? What in the world?
It's the tenderloin.
You interrupted your soliloquy.
couldn't help
just to
myself.
Interject
Move
the
on.
point.
I heard about loins and I was off.
Move on.
Those young, thrusting.
Anywho,
All right, so
He
so what
cannot
do we
take
think
this
then?
sort
Do
of
you-
excitement at
do you
112.
think it was a scam, or do you think she got a point? And
Don't
do we
know.
care?
Yeah, nobody knows.
You know what? I don't know if it's a scam, but I think you've aroused my ire with this is because it's
Watch
the
out.
same thing that happened in the 50s to television performers. It happened even earlier to movie performers. It's happened to artists. It happens to writers. Amazon is trying to do it to writers right now.
Yeah.
It is always fuck the artist. Just give me my money.
Aroused
And-
Ire is a
Absolutely.
great name for a rock band. Great name.
No.
And I'm
Okay,
tired
so
of
now-
it.
and now-
They're tired of it. I
Donna-
hope they
Donna-
win every fight they go after.
Donna brings up a good point, though, because throughout history, it's always been the performer, the artist. I don't care if they're visual artists or if they're
Yeah,
a
it
singer
doesn't
or if they're
matter
a writer.
in every art
the
form.
artist is always the one who is basically
Screwed.
just getting screwed.
Yeah. Screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The
and that's
corporation-
because they're an
story
artist.
is
If they
always
want to
the
be a
same.
manager
A
and make a
struggling-
load of money, then they need to be a manager and make a load of money.
You know what?
the artists
that's bullshit,
forget.
because the story is always the same. It's always the struggling artist looking for that first opportunity, not realizing, like you said with your Dracula example that you gave, you have to know the definition going into the door that,
No,
if
the-
I
the
knew this
thing is-
definition, I'd know I was going to be screwed. But the fact of the matter is, struggling artists in all fields don't necessarily know the password
These girls,
to get
these
into
girls
the door
and guys
without
have
being
been. These
screwed.
girls and guys have been doing it since they were 15, 16 years old. They've been playing the good ones. They've been doing it for a long time. They know every trick in the book. They're the ones that have played downtown Lawrence, downtown Tonganoxie, downtown Birmingham.
There's a downtown Tonganoxie?
and they
Great
know.
skyline.
They know.
That's
They know.
happening, man. That's happening
They know
place.
what it's like when the tire on the truck blows. And they're driving around in a tiny little Mercedes wagon that's falling apart because it's 15 years old and they haven't
And
got
because
enough
they're
equipment.
banging the groupies.
Yeah, they're banging the groupies and all that
can I-
stuff. And then all of a sudden, someone comes along and says, "You're quite good at this." Some guy standing in a blazer, jeans and a blazer at the back of the hall, walks up one day and says, "Look, here's my card. Give me a call." And someone does, and he says, "Look, I tell you what. How about doing this properly?" And within a week, they have a tour bus, a new tour bus. They have a semi. They have all the latest equipment. They have
What they
professional
didn't
engineers.
have was a lawyer standing right behind
No,
them
no.
reading
and
the fine print.
And they say, "That's brilliant." And they go ahead and do it. To say they weren't aware of what they were signing up to is complete bollo.
You're full of shit,
Well,
Jeremy.
no,
I
there
can
is
disagree with you on that one, Jeremy.
no. See, here's
Every
the
time
difference.
you move up in any business, from wherever it is you start, each level that you go up, new rules, and you got to learn those rules. And you don't know them necessarily walking in the door.
Been there, seen it, done it. Now, somebody said it's time to change the subject. Our
Yes.
producer was looking at me and he said, "Time to change the
Anywho.
subject." And a new subject, which I didn't pick, actually, honestly, and it's titled British Superheroes. This is maybe aimed at Kathleen, who's married to one. Is there a dearth of
Wow,
British
Jeremy.
superheroes?
Wow.
Are superheroes a uniquely American concept? And given President Kennedy's, by the way, a genuine hero, speech about making it to the moon and back in a year as a superhero-like feat. So the questions are, one, are superheroes only American? And is American exceptionalism to blame? Or do they just think they're better than everybody else? Jeremy's going to say, well, I can tell you, we Brits, we don't have imaginary superheroes because we have real ones, including James
Mr.
Bond.
Bean.
Well, no, really, no, don't mock. It's
I'm
no, it's
sorry,
not.
I'm sorry, you
should.
have real ones,
We have real
including
ones.
James Bond?
James Bond.
I'm sorry, is that not a fictional character?
Excuse me.
Is that not a fictional
Well,
character?
Sean Connery is real. Fictional.
I'm sorry,
character.
hold
James
on.
Bond. James
I think Jack just blew Jeremy's mind.
Yeah, he's looking
Jer-
stunned.
Jeremy's
Silly.
shocked. He thought Bond was real.
Suck on that,
Bond is
pal.
real. All right. What about the greatest wartime leader of modern times, Winston Churchill?
FDR.
Best. He wasn't a wartime leader. He just followed Winston. Best
played.
admiral, Nelson. best queens, Elizabeth, Victoria,
No,
and
Freddie
Elizabeth.
Mercury.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then, of course, if you want real superheroes, you've got Doctor Who and the
Another
greatest
real
superhero. I mean,
Right.
he's Scottish, but he's still British. Sean Connery. I mean, for real. These guys are real. We don't have to make up superheroes.
Nah,
And why
I
do
went
you
right off
Americans
Sean
make up
Connery.
superheroes when you've got real heroes?
I can't think
like
of a...
like President Kennedy, who suffered in severe pain for
What I
20,
find very
25
interesting
years.
with this is you are implying that you don't need superheroes.
We
However, Britain and pretty much the rest of the world has latched on to all of the superheroes made in America.
Latched?
Latched on. Latch. They've latched on to all the superheroes made in America. This
see
is
his
why
face
you see
light up
films
at the word
like
lash?
Spider-Man, Superman, Batman making millions upon millions of dollars all around the globe. So
I
it's
thought
not
they were
like you
superheroes.
don't
They need the
them.
money.
It's not
Why are
like-
they doing
I'm
this?
sorry,
If they
you make
need
it
the money?
sound like the British population is going, "Oh, Superman, yeah, fuck you. We don't need you." My ass.
it's fun to
My
watch.
ass, they're doing that.
It's fun to watch, a little embarrassing because we've got real ones. I mean, we've
Oh,
got
so
one,
like James
the
Bond?
best admiral in the world. He's sitting on top of a tower in the middle of London. I mean, for goodness sake, you don't see
Full of
Superman.
bird crap.
You don't see Superman on a
Very apt.
300-foot concrete and block tower in the middle of New York, do you?
Well, unless you're talking about a movie screen.
No, but you don't. I mean, name one superhero who's real, who existed, that you have on the top of a plinth anywhere in America.
On the top
I'm
of
sorry,
There's this
what?
place
You wanna
called Mount
explain
Rushmore,
a
and their faces are carved into it. So there's 4 right there.
Oh, snap. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, and he is silenced again.
Hey, I can't think of a... I can't
Yeah,
think
what
of
about
a-
Bulgarian superheroes?
Seriously, I can't think of any superhero outside of the United States. Now that Jeremy mentioned it, I can't think of another comic character or
They exist.
They do.
Asterix
I would
and
think
Obelix.
Asterix would. What
Oh, for goodness sake.
Hold
I
on,
mean,
we
Asterix.
gotta separate. There's a difference between comic characters and superheroes, and this is my question. I should say that I'm the one that came up with this topic because
Damn you,
bet.
Lewis.
Bastard.
because I'm listening actually to Star Talk, and they had a couple of physicists, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Cox.
Those are superheroes.
Those they come really
They're
damn
my
close.
superhero.
Yeah. But Brian Cox mentioned the notion, or pointed out the notion that he never was interested in comic books. That superheroes are American, and I started to think about it, and I'm like, holy shit, he's right. Like, the more I think about it, the more I don't know why.
It's a uniquely American
It is. I mean,
cultural
look at
thing.
who they vote for in presidential elections. Can
The
you think of anybody
superheroes?
who is more a comic book character than Donald Trump?
Quite
You just had to know she was going to bring that in somewhere.
I
No,
mean,
but this is
really,
important.
it's
No, this
absolutely
is
true.
this is actually where the conversation started for me, because there's a lot of larger than life qualities to Donald Trump, good or bad. He is a persona.
Yeah.
And
The most idiotic of the idiots, no?
Yeah.
But he's
It's
not
just
an idiot.
Amazing.
yeah, I don't
he
think
may
he's an
have a
idiot.
squirrel living on his
I
head.
think
but,
he's
you know.
scary, but I don't think he's an idiot.
He is pretending to be then, so he's the best pretender.
Yeah.
Guys, there's some things that you have to appreciate about this idiot. He has purchased the website jebbush.com, and when you click on jebbush.com, it goes to Donald Trump's website.
Yeah, they let the domain. They let the domain. They didn't re-register the
Yeah,
domain
Jeb
name.
Bush's campaign was really
There's
slacking
a
on that.
beauty to that. There's a beauty in the thinking behind that. There's a deviousness and mischievousness that
Although I believe that was probably the deviousness and mischievousness of his staff.
yeah, but still, like,
Who are being paid by Trump.
yes. So
But anyway, he's a comic book character. And
I
Americans
think-
have a
well-
weakness for it.
yes, and I think that there's something to the notion that superheroes are
American.
Or
American.
supervillains.
This
He's
is one
more
of the
like
last
Penguin
things we
villain.
manufacture.
No.
The United-
Superheroes are not strictly American.
Tell us.
Totally disagree with that.
Illuminate us.
Think about ancient Greece and ancient Rome.
I was so hoping my buddy
Good
would bring
point.
that up.
Genius.
Yes.
Those are superheroes.
Even the Titans, if you think back.
So going
Ancient
back,
Greek
so
mythology.
this was actually
Good point.
Hercules.
exactly the point that I wanted to make. It is not American exceptionalism. It is
Ancient Greek exceptionalism.
no. It is. Put it this way. I think that it is a product of having a monotheistic religion as our base, as our
Mythology.
background. I think it is mythology. I think that as Americans, we do not have, and I'm sorry if you guys have heard this before, if any of you that have listened to me have heard me talk about this, we don't have a trickster god.
Trickster God.
We
Your
don't
favorite
have.
topic.
Yeah, it really, really is. We don't have that thing that defines reality that is neither good nor evil.
Is that what puts us in common with the ancient Greeks? Because I don't think so.
No, but the notion of superheroes is
Can you repeat
tightly
that? Defies reality? It's neither...
defines reality and is neither
Fine.
good nor evil.
Isn't that Obama?
He very well could
Wait. Louis, you brought up a good point.
Uh-huh.
We basically, our superheroes, they are our mythos.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they are.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's no difference between what we have and what you would see in ancient Greece and ancient Rome.
Right.
It's exactly the same.
Hercules.
Superheroes.
Well, I'm
it's
not sure that it's
about-
exactly
not about
the
they have
same.
certain powers, but it's about
Uh-huh.
their character and doing the right thing, or being this type of character,
Or
like
fixing the
Christ.
wrong
Yeah,
thing.
I was going to say,
Or-
and that's where it wouldn't be exactly the same because Greek gods and Roman gods were capable of great harm.
Like
Yeah.
that
Oh,
Superman.
there's plenty
And-
of heroes who do the same thing.
Yeah,
But they
and
weren't considered
You're right,
villains.
and-
They simply were their gods.
the more I think about it, the more similarities I find between the ancient Greek heroes and our superheroes. They're all extremely powerful. They're godlike. They're all ambiguously gay. You know, like look at Batman and Robin.
Especially that Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin. Hubba, hubba.
We need to move on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And
just getting interesting.
I've been told I mustn't say the word so, and you have been told, Louis Orlando, not to say so either. And that comment comes all the way from Australia, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yes.
Evo is not familiar with what you're talking about.
What-
Why don't you
no,
share
Australia
that?
Australia is listening to
Australians.
us?
We have Australians listening to this podcast, and one of the comments was that we say so too much.
But by the way, I was thinking how it's one of the last things that we manufacture in the United States is superheroes. We basically make bad cars, bad movies, and superheroes and weapons right now. And sooner or later, if we make something, we outsource it to other countries. But how do we outsource the superheroes?
Well, how do we outsource them to
Well,
Australia?
how do
The
you-
greatest
for-
comic book writers of the last 30 years have all been from the
writers
UK.
and
They're all
artists
English.
Well,
for the last 30
we need
years. You see
countries-
a ton of members from the UK.
We need Australians to build more skyscrapers because
Yes.
if we send Spider-Man to Canberra, they'll be like taxi. You know?
He's
There's
got
not
to
enough
find an
tall
Aussie
buildings for me
accent.
to swing.
I'll just jump around on a kangaroo. It's fine.
Come on, give me
What
your
is
best, give me
Spider-Man
your
going
best
to do
Aussie
in
accent.
Melbourne? That's the point. He's going to be
I
upside
don't
down
want
for a
to
start, so
insult
will everything
anybody.
work?
I have a horrible Australian accent.
I'm just
Australian.
curious as to how we ended up with an Australian audience.
Well, we do. That's just how it is. A couple of things I want to mention. Sunday
answer.
coming up is Oscar nominations, and apparently it has been boycotted by people who are not of European heritage. Lewis says,
How PC do we need to make this, for Christ's sake?
Yeah.
"Okay, black people don't like it very much. What's going on there?
Oh,
they think
how
there's-
dare you! You put
How
the,
dare you? We are all leaving,
You
Jeremy.
put the cock in Caucasian. Shame on you.
I like that.
Evo, I think it's been there for a long time.
Okay, so Oscar nominations coming up. There's all sorts of things, the reverence and things like that. I don't want to get in too heavily, but have we got any picks, Donna? What are your picks for the Oscars this Sunday?
My picks, boy, I'm up in the air. I've been led astray when it comes to
Uh-oh.
Best Picture. 'cause
You have been
usually-
led
do you mean?
astray.
Well,
Is this while your husband's been away? What have you been up to?
F you.
Chicka wow wow.
I'm sorry, but I follow all the guilds and where they're going. And,
I'm sorry, hold on. Explain that.
Yeah.
What does it mean when you say you follow the guilds?
Okay, the Academy is made up of various branches and
Screenwriters Guild.
or guilds, guilds or unions essentially. But there's the Directors Guild, the Producers Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, and they too hold awards. Now the Screen Actors obviously are voting just for actors, but they do Best Cast, which is indicative of where they're going to go for Best Picture.
Right.
And it is extremely unusual that those, by the time you reach this point in the, where people have voted, that those guilds do not agree. And this is the first time in a long time that they don't agree at all. They have all picked.
How disparate are their choices?
I'm not sure the word is disparate, but The Big Short is one, Spotlight is one, Revenant is one, and he won for
Best Actor.
Best Director. No, he's already taken the Directors Guild for Best Director.
Gotcha. But didn't Leonardo win
Golden Globe?
the Golden Globe?
And the Screen Actors Guild.
And Screen Actors Guild.
Brie Larson and Leo are pretty much a lock. Sylvester Stallone is probably a lock for Best Supporting for Creed. And interestingly enough, he did ask his director if he wished him to boycott, said he was willing to boycott if the director wanted him to. And the director said, absolutely not. Go represent my movie, our movie. And
So your picks are
Best Supporting is tied right now between Kate and Alicia Vikander. And I would go with Alicia, personally.
Any other thoughts from anybody? Anybody?
Wait a minute. We still haven't heard who Donna is picking for Best Picture. This is the one that I want to know.
Do you want a question on sports?
You are just pissing me off tonight.
I love it.
I probably would go with The Revenant.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Jake, what do you reckon?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Donna as far as everything's kind of up in the air. However, I do disagree about the Best Actor. I've got a feeling Steve Jobs, and I got a feeling Michael Fassbender is going to take it.
No, what I gave you was not my opinion on those. I gave you, the only thing I gave you my opinion on was The Revenant. That's what I would
I thought
pick.
I thought you said that Leo would win for Best Actor.
He is going to win.
Well, see, I disagree. I think it's going to be Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs.
Except that history would tell you that Leo has picked up every major. He picked up the Globe and he picked up the Screen Actors Guild. And let us not forget, the largest voting block in the Academy is actors. And if they've already decided in their own guild level, it is almost unheard of that someone else has picked.
Well, 2 points are
Academy.
he's been overlooked numerous times. He may just become overlooked again. And point number 2, history can suck it. I don't really care.
Evo.
I like your point number 2.
I did not like Spotlight. I thought that Spotlight had a great cause and a great topic, and it was important and was necessary. I felt like the movie was lacking life. It never came to life. It was basically a read. People were reading and stitching together scene after scene of just reading a documentary material. And it was really one long documentary. It had an amazing cast that tried to do their best. Mark Ruffalo was amazing. He was fantastic. I mean, you look at the cast, you had Rachel McAdams, you had Michael Keaton, you had Mark Ruffalo, Lee Schreiber, fantastic actors, but they were basically moving from room to room to room and reading material, and there was not that much acting involved. But the Academy likes to go for topics, for important topics. So they might actually go for Best Picture for this. I love The Big Short because it was unconventional, it was bizarre, the structure was
That's
very
Mr.
interesting.
Adam McKay.
Yeah, I can see that being the dark horse. For sure.
But I think The Revenant was really stunningly shot. These long action shots, uninterrupted shots were amazing, creating a sense of reality and tension. And I think Leonardo DiCaprio was freaking ridiculous. It was incredible.
I do want to clarify. I think you and I agree on one point. When I'm looking at what I consider, what I consider to be a Best Picture, I'm looking at the whole thing.
Yeah.
Has it changed movie making?
Yeah.
Are they using different techniques? Are they giving us something new? Are they making you think?
Yeah.
Are they opening up the world of film that other filmmakers will then build upon? However, having said that, I also read everything there is to read about the Academy Awards. So when I'm predicting things, it's because
Based
I
on
have
knowledge.
read everything there is to read, and I'm giving you what I think are going to be other
the
people's
actual-
Well,
predictions.
very clearly, there's a film about Eddie the
Winners.
Eagle
That's coming up.
that's coming out, and of course, as far as I'm concerned, there is no question as to who should win it. But what is a little different, and Donna and I were talking about this before the show, and that is, and it's very rare, really, is for a musical to be invited to come along to the awards. And I wanted to touch on, and we'll do a bit more of this next week, Hamilton, the musical.
I think you mean the Grammy Awards.
That's what I meant.
They were invited
I
to
meant
the
the
Grammys.
Grammy Award, of course I did. And I wonder, has everybody had a chance to listen yet? No, probably not. And we will revisit this more fully next time, but wanted to challenge folk to have a listen during the week. Said to be, by the critics, the first rap musical, and a very special...
Amazing. It's
More
amazing.
more
show.
accurately, they call it the first hip-hop musical.
First hip-hop musical, historically correct. Of course, the musical's about President Hamilton, who died from injuries inflicted in a duel, and there are arguments about whether that was his naivety or even a suicide. As to the first rap musical, our own Kathleen here has said for years, and the New York Times, incidentally, the other day agrees with her, that in fact the Music Man had the first rap song. Take it away, Donna and Kathleen.
Oh, you can't beat this. Now, I'm going to do this in my best soul accent so that you recognize it as a rap. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? Chi, 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 chi. How, I mean, is that rap or is that rap? I mean, really.
Is that part of the
That is
musical?
part of the first song, yes.
I've listened Alexander Hamilton, the song.
No, she's talking about
The train
another
song.
musical. She's talking about the Music Man.
The
When
Music
not-
Man.
The
Not
very
Hamilton.
first
When the
song.
salesmen are all sitting in the carriage, they're talking about what they're doing, where they're going. That's the first musical, the rap song in a musical.
Who's going to patronize the 2x4? Who's going to... Oh, I can't even do it properly. But they do a rap song that is in time with the train as it speeds up. Mm-hmm. And it has no tune to it. Straight rap. Mm-hmm. And it works beautifully as the first song in the Music Man.
I see.
And that's from what, 1810 or something?
There's probably elements of hip hop now that I think.
I'm sorry, you think Music Man was written
No,
in
I'm just
1810? Jesus. You're going to have people believing that that's where it was written. There was no such thing as an American musical.
Clearly it
So
was
when
1750.
was it written?
Right, 1750. That's when they imitated trains.
Hamilton.
1950s.
The Hamilton is amazing, amazing musical, and everybody should listen to it. And I've only seen videos of it online, but I was pretty amazed.
Well, I saw your transcript of it, and I would rather read it, honestly, because I can't pick up the words, but I want to read that.
I swear to you, if you just listen, I told you, those singers have incredibly clear
Yes.
diction.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll try it.
Will.
I'll give it a try.
I gave you the words because they are so intricate, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean you won't understand them.
Okay, good.
And there
So
is-
if there were like 3 songs that you would pick out, could you name 3 songs for either the
Shot.
folks that are here,
The Shot.
or folks in the
The
audience?
Shot.
That, yeah.
Alexander Hamilton.
What Did I Miss? And the rap battle between Hamilton and Jefferson.
It just sounds so great.
Epic rap battles of history, right there.
Yes.
This is fantastic.
Well, of course, Lin-Manuel has described Alexander Hamilton as probably the first rapping American because the man never stopped talking. I mean, truly never stopped
And writing.
talking.
And,
Man,
right, and
he
the
was
actual
prolific.
song Alexander Hamilton is incredible. The entire thing is just, you cannot stop listening to it. And it's got such an interesting message. It's about this country, about the spirit of innovation and rebellion. And I think politicians need to watch this musical.
They have.
These people
Actually,
that are running...
in previews, there have been a tremendous number
but
of
they need
politicians.
to take the lesson from it. It's just so much innocence and energy and enthusiasm, clean energy. in this musical. It's so beautiful. It is absolutely spellbinding. And I'm not a hip hop guy. I'm a classic rock guy, and I just loved it. Loved everything about it.
Can we just back up for a second as to why it's called the first hip hop musical? And you might need to help me out, but the original definition of hip hop, as I understand it, was a cultural phenomenon made up of three parts: the artistic part, graffiti, the dancing part, which, hip hop dancing, and the musical element, which was rap. And that is why this is called, if you go back to that traditional definition, that is why it's called the first hip hop musical, because he incorporates all of that. My dearest friend in the world, Dee Dee Dresser, saw it during previews. She is a choreographer, and she said it was the most incredible dancing, not just the music,
No
the
minuets?
most incredible music dancing that she had ever seen.
But it seems to me like somehow it preserves also the traditions of the classical musical.
Yes, it does, actually.
In a very
He is-
strange way.
If you know that man's background, his parents bought musical Broadway shows from practically the moment he was born. He has grown up and can quote you practically every musical that was ever on Broadway. He knows whereof he's stealing. Let's put it that
And
way.
he
I think
has
that
had
is
top. It
good
is
way.
fair to say he's had top flight. He's done the music, but he's had top flight advisors. He had the guy on the historical side. People have said it's incredibly accurate. And the guy who wrote the Hamilton book, on Hamilton, has been the historical advisors. Am I right in thinking Stephen Sondheim has been working as part? Has been listening
I am
to
not
it?
familiar with that.
Yeah, I've heard that
I would
he's-
have to look that up, but he may have given him advice, but he didn't have anything to do with the writing of it.
No, he's been writing it, and then what he's been doing is he's been calling people who are if we would say the
Influential,
who's
the who's
who, to say, well, what do you think? And these people have been the who's
But that's
who.
what every to clarify, just about every music writing team is going to ask for opinions as they go. What do we keep? What do we change? What do we?
Yeah, but I think
And there we
Jeremy's
go.
saying
What do we
that,
keep?
yeah.
What do we keep?
do you
We're
get?
off.
What do you get?
No, look, ladies
No,
and
I think
gentlemen,
the
we're
point
going
is
to
that Lin-Manuel is able to pick from the cream of the crop to look at this thing and say, is this the direction to go in? And
Right, but what I was trying to point out is the man knows his musical history.
Right.
When it comes to the Broadway
It's
show.
clearly going to be a seminal moment in American musical.
You just enjoyed saying that.
I enjoyed watching him say that.
It was quite something.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. It is good.
It's going to help
Now,
the
I need to
evolution
change it.
of
I
the
need to
genre.
move over to it, and we're going to touch more on this in the next show.
But everybody has to go listen to at least part
we
of
need
it.
to listen to it so we can talk about it sensibly.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
We're going to tie
We're
you down.
very
and
nearly,
play it.
very nearly at the end of the show,
it's-
and we'll
musicals are like golf.
we'll be
They
talking
put me to
about the
sleep in a
word in
heartbeat.
just a moment from Louis Orlando. But I did want to ask a quick question. I want to know, pets.
This is already
Pets.
not a quick question.
Pets may reflect us as their owners, but why do we have them? Particularly cats, who are constantly plotting our dogs and our own downfall. And we have a cat who's quite famous in this part of the world. He's featured on
Giant.
radio. Giant
I
pussy.
object to the notion that he reflects us.
And that's the thing.
Shout out John Pussy. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is a
Is that
giant
you, Kathleen?
pussycat.
A reflection of that
I'm
giant
going to
pussy.
try to ignore that whole phrase.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than, nothing
Just
better.
insatiable.
Sitting at home, stroking one's pussy, watching the television. I don't know. I just want to know what you think. we can
And the
move on to
room
another
comes
subject,
to a halt.
Because
Okay.
he's molting at the moment, is our rock.
I hate it when my pussy molts.
And so he takes a lot of brushing and stroking. He does. No, really. No, don't laugh, because it's
I mean,
true.
you don't want a lot of pussy hair in your mouth either. I mean,
You
that's
don't.
horrible.
No, you don't. No, and it's all over the place, let me tell you.
Yeah.
All over
This
the place.
conversation will never become serious. If that was ever
No.
your intent,
Yeah.
you just took us off the
Yeah,
rails.
it's horrible.
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
It's just
backing up.
spitting hairballs and
Cats. You're talking about like why? What's the attraction of cats
Yeah.
compared to dogs?
Why do we have cats?
Okay. Honestly, cats. put it bluntly, cats just don't give a shit. A dog will sit there and do whatever you tell them to do. And
Yeah, me
they,
come
and
too.
In a sense,
Why?
To a sense, they really don't have a lot of personality. Whereas a cat, you can tell a cat to do something, and cat's just like, yeah, F you, I'm not doing that.
On the
Whereas
other
a dog-
Yeah, that's not true. My cat follows commands.
Great, Donna's got the one half-dog cat in existence.
No, the
And my
only
dog
reason-
has a definite
I
personality.
Yeah.
count on Donna to provide
I
a
don't think it has
counterpoint.
to do with the character of cats and dogs. It's simply that cats you don't have to take out to poop. Dogs you do.
So they literally don't give a shit.
Literally. Oh,
Cha-ching. Now, so who has a pussycat? We have one.
I do.
I have
Jake
both
has
a
one.
cat and a dog.
We had a
What's-
dog as well, but the cat killed him.
Yeah, the cat killed him.
I don't
see.
like cats.
Dog
Don't
committed
like
suicide. It was
I
terrible.
don't hate cats, but I also would never willingly choose to have a cat as a pet.
Yeah. If a cat
They're
You're going to
warm.
burn for that.
Yeah, if a cat was bigger, if your cat was bigger, it would fuck you up. It will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
if your dog were bigger,
They,
it would
no,
fuck you
they
up.
won't.
Cats.
No,
They won't. They'll
dogs
listen
are
to you.
communal
Yes, they
animals,
can.
though. That's
They
kind of
can,
the
but
point.
but cats they'll just get hungry and they'll eat you. You know.
So do
They'll just-
dogs.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
cats-
know.
cats
Actually,
very-
if you're
they're
dead
just
on
not
the
as
kitchen
domesticated
floor
as cats.
for too long a period of time,
dogs.
all of your animals, regardless of what you had, even your little hamster, would start eating you.
But
yes, but cats
are planning it.
That's
I
the
love
problem.
This conversation.
Cats are planning it. Cats can't understand why when we let the dogs out, they don't run, they don't escape. You know, the cats are going to be saying, they report into Cat Central saying the dog had the opportunity to leave today but didn't. Why?
dogs are stupid.
What are you talking about? My cat looks out the door when Percy goes out and says, "Better you
Beg
than
your
me,
pardon?
bud."
But
Yeah.
this is your
And
weird
turns
cat dog thing
around
that you have.
and
What if, forget about
walks right back in the house.
forget about cats and dogs. What about exotic pets? Like more exotic pets? Do you guys
They
have
eat
any
you
kind of
too.
snakes,
Like Brits?
or Brits or Ricky Rubio? You know, some kind of like
They would
a
all
friendly.
eat you if you were dead on the kitchen floor for too long.
I saw a
whole
lovely
pussy
thing
thing.
the other day. You should go to YouTube, folks, a cockatiel, and this guy has moved the cockatiel onto a perch, big white thing it is, and the cockatiel will go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And this is what he says. And so the guy gets his cage, lays the cage down on the floor and jumps on the cage, right? And the cockatiel goes completely berserk. He's flapping his wings and he's having a great... He can't believe it. And the more this guy jumps on his cage and crushes it, the more this cockatiel is getting worked up about this. He thinks it's brilliant and he's going up and down. You should watch it. Look, finally, ladies and gentlemen, here we are.
Look for that.
Here we are on Wednesday night, undressed from Conroy's Emporium, where you can get anything your heart desires. It's the word from Dr. Lewis Orlando.
Brothers and sisters, I come to you today with a new word.
Hallelujah.
Today's word is messwage. MESSUAGE. Messwage.
This has to do with food.
Messwich.
Messwage. Here are your
Suage.
So what are alternatives?
here are our options.
Dr. Lewis?
Number 1, a chaotic scene or environment.
Chaotic scene or environment.
Are you going to repeat everything I said?
Yeah.
Okay. To relax with massage or stroking.
We're back to the cat again.
That was
aren't we?
earlier
There we go.
today.
Or a residential building without buildings and the attached land.
I'm going to go with the last one.
It cannot be a
Well, I'm
residential
sorry,
building.
What was the last definition again?
A residential building without buildings.
Didn't you miss the standard a shrub in South America?
A
definition?
shrubbery.
Shrubbery. Ew.
Lou, I'm going to go with a manwich made out of sausage meat. That's what I'm going to go with.
Sweet.
I like that as well. A
Of
relaxing
course, Mr.
sandwich.
Torrance goes with choice D.
I'll take D every time.
Just to be clear, he wants the D.
Yes.
So what was the first one? A catheter, did you say?
The first answer was a
Chaotic.
chaotic scene or
Not
environment.
a catheter.
Oh, why did I write down catheter? A chaotic scene.
You do that a lot.
A meswich.
Yeah.
He said this is being
Again, the
served.
spelling MESSUAGE. Messwich.
I'll go with that. Why not?
And there was a massage and stroking.
There was massaging strokes.
Yeah.
I'm going for number one because I think it's French.
All right. The answer is a residential building with outbuildings and
boring.
patch land.
That's horribly boring, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
like 100% on this. Like, I'm always
You are
Yeah.
actually at 100%.
You've been listening to an undiluted, unequivocal Wednesday night undressed from Conroy's Emporium, where you can get anything your heart desires. Woo!